Hey, what's going on? It's Dan the Voyager, and today I wanted to take you into the project file of my new song, Tsunami.
Whether I swim or I drown, give me peace and give it now. I said give it right now. Well,
Tsunami is out November 7th, and if you go to my YouTube Shorts or TikTok or Instagram, you can see me give you an introduction of what it's about, and you can hear a little preview. But today, we're digging into the technical side because I just wanna. So the first thing I thought I'd show you is just my vocal chain, what I've got going on the vocal track. So this is pretty typical of me. It's not, obviously I change it up from time to time, but this is pretty standard or pretty close to what I do. Just starting out with a quick compressor, 76, pretty quick, ratio of 4, only about 50%, a little less than 50% of it mixed in there. Then just some Pro Q. Sometimes I don't love some of the 600 range. I guess I didn't love it in this one. Got a de-esser on here. A pretty big cut, and for me, my vocals, I feel like I'm hearing them all the way down into the low 4K range, so I go pretty steep on that. And then, just another dynamic EQ, probably just cutting some of that boominess out. Let's talk about Decapitator, my new favorite plugin. I'm putting this thing on everything, and it's one of those things where, you're supposed to trust your ears. If it sounds good, it is good, but then your brain says, can this really sound good on everything? And my ears keep saying yes. I love the colors that you get here. I love the controls. I just love the sound. It's just such good, lush, warm saturation. And it's kind of making me not even touch any of my old ones, especially like Chroma Glow. So this is one of my absolute favorite compressors. It's the MJUC from Klanghelm. And I use this guy all the time. It's got 3 different models. I really live at Mark II and Mark III. I haven't touched Mark I much, and I just haven't felt the need to, I guess. Mark II is more of a FET 176 type compressor, and then Mark III is like a very moo type compressor. So yeah, I'll just stack these guys right on top of each other where I've got a faster compressor, kind of bringing the vocal forward a little bit. And then I'll have the very moo at the end just to kind of smooth everything over and kind of even it all out. Looks like I didn't have quite enough boominess brought out. So one more little stab at that right there. Now let's talk about sends. I'm a Valhalla vintage verb kind of guy. I love verb, but I don't like to mess with it too much. You know what I mean? I've been loving the large wood room preset. I love how intimate it feels while also giving a nice sense of space. Obviously, sometimes I'll mess with the high cut, low cut. Sometimes I'll throw a Pro Q for before or after, but that is my go-to kind of vocal and even instrument stuff. I like to run a lot of the instruments through that same reverb channel just so it all kind of feels like it's in the same space. For my higher, kind of longer reverb vocals, I love the Palace Air preset. A lot of times I'll still cut out a lot of the low mids. I just like the kind of airy glossiness it puts on the high end. And then delay, I've actually been playing with the UAD Galaxy Tape Echo. A lot of times I'll just do like the tape delay logics, like default tape delay. But I was feeling adventurous and decided to play around with this. And I like a lot of the presets they have for the vocals. They need to be tweaked a little bit, but they're really close already. So let's talk about crispy top end on vocals. I got this idea from the Mixing Music podcast. Thanks, guys. So I've been parallel processing that crispy top end and mixing it in via bus. So typically what I'll do is just create a bus, throw a Pro Q4, high pass around 3-4K, and then Fresh Air, free plugin. A lot of times that's my go-to, just add a little bit of distortion, but not a lot. Even here, I've got 7 on both, and to me that even feels a little much, but I guess it sounded good last time I listened to it. So, and then what do you know? Decapitator on there again, adding quite a lot there. This is a lot of times where I'll throw Soothe 2 on. I want that crispy top end, but I don't want harsh transients and consonant sounds. So I usually throw this on here pretty harsh just to make sure that's not happening. And then, of course, mixing it in. I've only got, minus 22 dB of it in there. A little goes a long way. It's nice to do that on a parallel process for one, just to have to do it once and not to do it on every chain and adjust it. One more thing with the vocals I'll show you is I've got these vocal stacks. Man, I love vocal stacks. I just love how they sound. I've been doing something, you'll see here, all these are, shit, don't do that. This is actually something new I've been doing with all my vocals. You'll see all these waveforms are chopped up. This is something I totally got from the John Castelli episode of the Dead Wax podcast, where he's talking about how he didn't use compression for like the first 5 years because he was just chopping up waveforms and using the gain to just make them the same size. And there was something that clicked about that for me versus like I always hated the process of having to go in and automate through the waveform. This was a way to do that in a way that seemed less complicated to me in a way, I guess, but maybe it's because it's more of a visual and auditory thing where I'm like, I'm looking at it, does it seem the right size? Then I check it. If it does, I adjust. I don't know, but it just made sense. And so I've been doing that. I've been going in and chopping them up and just gaining them to be the same. Therefore, I don't have to use as much compression. And it's been helping a lot, I think, just in the quality of my vocals, just because I'm not compressing them as much. It's allowing me to use compression more for color and for kind of placement in the mix rather than just having to use so much compression just so all the words are hearable. I actually didn't really have to do too much to these to get them sounding like I wanted. So Pro Q, high pass, 140-ish. Decapitator again, surprise, surprise. And actually, all the way wet. I didn't even notice that. Well, I guess it's working. MJUC again, a de-esser, and then another MJUC, and I'm just doing that FET with Fairy Moo on top. And then, yeah, my normal Valhalla, my Wood Room, my Palace Air, my Crispy Top End, and look, another sidechain decapitator. What do you know? So I'll let you hear what they sound like in the mix. That's all you get. Gotta wait for the release to get the rest. Greedy bastards. I hope you enjoyed me taking you through the project file on my song Tsunami. If you've got any tips for me, if you see me like misusing a plugin or like describing it incorrectly, let me know in the comments. I'm not an expert. I am completely self-taught. I know that I'm probably getting a lot of stuff wrong. Or maybe if you have some tips, tricks, do you like any of the same plugins I do? Are there cool ways that I'm not using it? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you.